So, in my previous session, we discussed shortest remaining next and FCFS. So, we have four more actually. But in VTU, they will ask you to solve problem with respect to shortest job first, shortest remaining job first, that is preemptive version of your shortest job, and your round robin with the time slice. And along with that, actually, it would be asked for 10 marks or 12 marks. So, FCFS and shortest remaining job first and round robin, all three, and you have to compute average waiting time and average turnaround time, and you have to evaluate which algorithm gives you high performance. Okay, that is how the question will be, but we are splitting according to the algorithm for solving different problems. This is what we did in the last class for July and January paper. With respect to shortest remaining job first, that is preemptive version of your SJFS. So now for today's class, it is round robin. So round robin thing, same here also you have to find the completion time, turnaround time, and the waiting time. Next you have to find the average waiting time and average turnaround time. So with the disadvantage of your shortest job first was even though disadvantage of your FCFS was if an process with the larger burst time arises, then it will occupy the CPU. When it occupies the CPU, even though the shorter job if arrives at the ready queue, CPU will not be allocated to you because the process with the larger burst time will be occupying the CPU. So that's the disadvantage. So that is what called as convey effect. To overcome that, what we can do is if the burst time of a process is shorter, then that will be given first priority and CPU will be allocated to that process. So when the processor is allocated to a process with a shorter burst time, so it will complete early and the next process will get the chance. Likewise, it will reduce the waiting time of the processes. Now, this is one way. Another way is round robin. What is round robin is like your circular queue. What we will do here is there is a component concept here called as time quantum, where in the question they will fix a time quantum like as in 4 millisecond, 10 millisecond, or 1 millisecond, or 2 millisecond. Every processor will get an equal share of the CPU time for consider this example only. Here in this example, question specifies find average waiting time and turnaround time where all the process arrives at 0th millisecond and time quantum is 4 millisecond. If the question says time quantum is 4 millisecond, that indicates a slice of time that is 4 milliseconds should be allocated to all the process which is ready at the ready queue. That is P1, P2, P3 should be allocated for 4 millisecond at the first turn. After completing 4 millisecond, it's like a round robin. It's like a circle. So once all the three process completes 4 millisecond, again we will start from P1, P2, P3. Again you have any process left with the burst time, again you will start from P1, P2, P3 based on the arrival time and based on the time quantum, based on the CPU burst time. You have to evaluate the average waiting time and turnaround time. So that is how that's the difference here. What is the advantage here is every process which is ready in the ready queue will get its turn to execute its mm, uh, process in the CPU. That is the main advantage of round robin. So I'll just copy this one. Now we have to write the chart for this. So here they have specified time quantum as 4 millisecond. All the process that is P1, P2, P3 have arrived at the ready queue at 0th millisecond only. So arrival time is not given, indicate everybody has arrived at the 0th millisecond. So now if all three processes are ready at the ready queue, so which one should be selected? It should be P1 should be selected first because it's round robin with the time slice. It's nothing but FCFS, but there's an extra component called as time quantum. First come first serve basis only, but based on the time quantum you have to allocate the CPU. So first we should be allocated to P1. Next should be allocated to P2. Next should be allocated to next should be for P3. So now if you see here, 24 minus 4 millisecond it has covered. So remaining you have to allocate based on the time quantum. So 20 millisecond is still pending. Here second turn is for P2, but 4 millisecond is not there, so you will execute for 3 milliseconds, so remaining is 3. So P3 also execute for 3 millisecond, remaining is 3. So if you see this, even though this will exit, it starts from 0th millisecond, again it will stop at 4 millisecond because it will pre-emit, and CPU will be given to P2, that will execute for another 3 more millisecond, that is for 4 to 7, and P3 will execute 3 more millisecond from 7, that is 10. Okay, so now all P1, P2, P3 have completed their turn. And again, you have to start from P1 because it's round robin. So now you can see here, P1 is the only one which is remaining with 20 millisecond. So P1 will execute for the remaining, but still we will write 4 millisecond as time quantum. That is how you have to write the chart. So again, it will start from, so next turn will be for P1. So for 4 millisecond, that is 14. If any other process, like burst time of P2 is beyond 4, next turn will be P2, but already the P2 and P3 have completed. Again, it will go and select P1 only for next 4 millisecond, that is 18. So, so when you are executing, you have to do it for, so now again you will check for P2, P3, it's not there. So, sorry, P1 will be allocated. So again, it will execute for 4 more millisecond. That's for 30. Okay. So here, You can see here, this is the chart for computing the completion time. So here, actually, this will end to the zeroth millisecond. So now you have to find out uh, what is the completion time of P1. So what's the completion time of P1? P1, you have to see the last P1 where it has completed. So 30 millisecond, P1 has completed its execution. So completion time of P1 is 30 millisecond, and P2 completion time is, if you see P2, it has completed at 7 millisecond. So completion time of P2 is 7 millisecond. Next, P3 completed at 10 millisecond. So the last line of your P3, so that should be the completion time of P3, that is 10 millisecond. Round robin, you're going one after the other, like your FCFS, but taking time quantum. Here, time quantum is mentioned as 4 millisecond. So 24 minus 4 is 20. Again, P2 will be, CPU will be allocated to P2, but it is only 3 milliseconds. So execute for 3 millisecond and pre-emit. Pre-PU is available, now give it to P3. Execute for 3 millisecond for P3, and that terminates and exit from the CPU. Next turn is for P1. Even though it's the only process here for this problem, 4 millisecond will be allocated to you until P1 completes. This is the completion